love go.
Hello, boys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen, and everything in between. My name is Ram.
And my name's Sly, and this beginning's gonna be way less wordful than the last.
All right, yeah, we had to scrap the last one because of a audio mistake, but yeah, you said that you wanted to bring Panda back. Like, you're the only one that talks to Panda, so like, if Panda wants to come back, message him.
I messaged him on Xbox, and then he didn't respond because he's playing PC. So I can't message. I have to like find him on Facebook to message him.
He left us to go play PC.
God, what a
Like,
fucking
he might have
loser.
even sold his Xbox.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't sell his Xbox. He loves me too much for that. But yeah, he's probably on PC, and I miss that motherfucker. We need Panda, or if like I go back and I watch our old videos, right? And Panda never really said anything. But he was there, and it was funnier when he was there, because I love that kid. So, like, we need Panda, or we need someone else. But, you know,
I can
miss
totally
Panda.
find someone else. I'm sure there's like people waiting in line to to join us.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're fucking just coming in wafts.
No, this is
Fucking-
an excellent opportunity for bringing another YouTuber in. Like I know a couple of other YouTubers that don't have very large channels, and I think they might be willing to do it. But like, I got to make sure they know their shit when it comes to gaming journalism, because I don't want to just bring in another person who knows nothing.
Yeah, yeah, bring in another person who doesn't know jack shit, someone to contrast us. That's who we need.
But that would make them seem
Goddamn.
nubile in comparison, though, and I don't want to do that.
It has to be someone that I can tell a joke to and he can mildly laugh at. That's all I request of the people that are a part of this show. So, I mean, what is the news? Because as far as I could tell, it was jack shit for news. Like nothing anyone cared about.
Just from what I've seen, it's the same old shit. People being assholes and not thinking before they speak, and falling into the same traps that they constantly put themselves into.
PlayStation Plus got a price increase, so now it's
What?
more expensive. Yeah, they got a price increase.
How much?
I think for a year's subscription prior, it was $50. Now it's $60. And
Oh,
I
okay.
think for a single,
that puts it on par with Xbox.
Yeah, but for a single month, it's like $25. I think.
No, I think that's a 3-month thing. That's got to be 3 months. I think you misunderstood.
I don't know. I mean, that just sounds like something that they would do. They gave one of those like cookie cutter comments. It's like, yeah, to increase the production of the show and to meet the standards of people who are subscribed to PlayStation Plus, we had to increase the price. Blah blah blah. It's the same shit.
All right, but if they do this shit, they better not get hacked ever again. Because like that's the only reason they should be using money, is to bump up security and keep servers up.
Well,
3 months. I just checked Forbes. It's 1 month is still $10, and 3 months is $25. This puts it exactly on the same level as Xbox, and I think they can actually get away with this just because of how much they're dominating the console market right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, everyone still gets pissed when they increase the price.
Yeah,
and,
but I mean,
it doesn't. Right now, when they increase the price like this, it doesn't seem like they're doing it because they need the money. They're doing it because they want the money. Like, because they know they can get away with it. That's why they're doing it.
I'm sure they need it to some extent just because of how many people are joining, and that means they need more servers.
Oh yeah, we need the money because we have so many more people here. Like, if they're dominating the market that much, they don't need. That's what, like, Xbox was sucking so bad that they cut the price of their consoles basically in half. PlayStation had to lower the price of their consoles to keep up with the company that was selling less consoles. If Microsoft can go so far as to reduce the price of their almost
If this was a
brand new
competition
console,
thing, though, PlayStation would have kept their price lower. They understand that they're in charge right now and that they can do this kind of thing.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
That's why I'm saying it's shitty. because they're already ahead now, just kicking on the consumer because they can get away with it. Like it's silly. I don't like that. But hey, I don't have a PlayStation, so I don't have to care. Also,
All
I
right.
mean, what are you
Uh,
gonna do?
Next piece of news isn't like really anything like astounding. Nordic Games, a publisher based out of Vienna, essentially purchased all of THQ's properties in 2013, and they recently changed their name to THQ Nordic. So THQ was formerly shut down. I don't remember exactly the problems, but no doubt it was money struggles. And Nordic doesn't really have that many great games. They have a few, but there's a few series that have been left unfinished, like Red Faction, The Blob, and some other ones. Like The Blob, it was actually kind of fun. It's a different kind of game. Darksiders was also left hanging, and that was a game that was actually really good. Like Darksiders 2 was really really good, but Nordic has changed their name to THQ Nordic, which means THQ is no longer a closed company. THQ is back. They used to make Homefront. Homefront, they sold the IP though to Ubisoft. Pretty sure it's Ubisoft.
Oh man, and that game did great. The newest one, whoo boy,
The
everyone's
old
playing
one
that
wasn't
game.
that great anyway. Like the only reason I liked the old one is because it wasn't Call of Duty. It was something
Yeah,
different.
but it was wannabe Call of Duty, as most
It
shooters
was a
were back then.
futuristic based one before Black Ops 2 even tried that shit.
Yeah, but it was still wannabe Call of Duty before. All first-person shooters in that era were all wannabe Call of Duty. Like, let's be real here. Everyone wanted to be Call of Duty.
All right, and like I said, that's minor news. That's I mean, it could be big for you. Like depends on how big you're into Darksiders or Red Faction.
There's probably
Uh,
two
I
guys
don't
that care
remember
about
Red
that.
Faction Gorilla being that great, but like I did like Darksiders, and I was waiting for them to do more because like I want to see the other Harbingers.
Honestly, I don't care really. I'll just miss their logo and the beginning of my games. Q. It's in the game, I guess. I don't know.
No, that was EA.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
All right,
What about Challenge Everything? What was that?
challenge everything.
That also EA? That was
Let's
also
see.
EA. I think Challenge EA, like Challenge Everything was like EA Games, and then um, it's in the game was like
Yeah,
the
EA Games.
sports.
Challenge everything.
Yeah, and Challenge Everything was the sports. No. The it's in the game was the challenge was. God damn, I don't fucking know.
It
But it
doesn't
was
matter.
confusing.
They're old pitches that like anyone who isn't our age is gonna remember anyway.
Yeah, and I don't watch TV anymore, so they could very well be showing those commercials, but I don't give a shit.
All right, now you remember last week when I said people, extreme fans of No Man's Sky were being real shitheads?
Yes, I do recall that
The
actually.
life
Yes.
threats and stuff like that, and accusing a journalist of being a liar, even though it turned out they were right, and rather than apologizing to the writer, they went on to harass the developer. Well, history repeats itself not a week later with a Final Fantasy 15 delay being reported by Gamnesia. I don't know that much about Gamnesia. It doesn't sound familiar to me as a site, but they did cite a reputable source, and of course, people didn't like the idea of a delay. So rather than not being an asshole, they chose to be assholes, and they harassed the writer, and they basically just they kept saying shit like what you posted doesn't matter. Like, just take it down. You're clearly wrong here. It's been disproven so many times. And then, like, not a couple days later, Square Enix was like, you know what? Final Fantasy 15's been delayed 2 months.
Uh, well, I mean, the thing is like when you talk about this, it's always a subset of a subset. People, I can understand most
It's a
people
small
are,
group of assholes, but it's the same thing that I said last week. The
yeah.
loudest minority is going to represent the majority of that minority. So when you got loud assholes acting like a shithead, they're completely badly representing the gaming community. This is why gaming is seen as like a boys' club kind of hobby. This is why we're seen as closed-minded, assholes. Uh, Stop, like,
Oh,
so many
well,
of you are under 20, and I really want to tell you this. Stop acting like your age and act like a fucking adult. If you don't know your shit, quit acting like you do. They gave
that's
you facts. They gave you sources. Are you like incapable of reading? That possibly can't be it. I mean, you're able to go around the internet. It's like you've got selective reading or something like that. Like you completely skip over the shit that actually matters. And there's no way to defend yourself about this when it was disproven just a couple of days later.
uh, the thing is people, and I found this out very recently myself, is that people who want to be mad are always going to be mad regardless of what you tell them. And it's best, you can't argue with stupidity. So you just don't. Like, that's the best way to do it. Um,
I
and
think if you're
again,
a gamer, even if you're not planning on going into gaming journalism, I think you need to just learn about how gaming as a market and gaming as a whole actually works outside of your hobby. Because from what I've seen, the only thing that this angry minority knows anything about is actual just games and actually just being upset because they have to wait a little bit longer.
can we talk about gaming journalism for a second? Like, when I read an article by someone in regards to, like, a gaming journalist, quote unquote, I'm like, it, it's always so monotonous, and the title is always so. Well, I'm sure this isn't strictly for gaming journalism. This is just journalism, and period. There's always the title's always clickbait. Like always, 10 out of 10, 100% of the time, it's always clickbait. And that's fine. I can see why someone needs to do that because you need to attract attention. From what I can
These
tell,
articles,
journalists.
these people who put their names, these people who write these articles put their real names out there. Like not everyone had a pseudonym. I used a pseudonym when I wrote sometimes, but not for Xbox Culture. But these people put their real names on this work. They don't hide behind the internet being anonymous on the internet like a lot of you do, and they don't take advantage of that kind of thing. These people are actually representing themselves. Do you really think that they would risk their career and their future career on something like clickbait or writing an article that isn't true? No, these people take this as a job, and being a gaming journalist is a very hard job to progress in. It's
Oh yeah, that's what I'm
it's a
saying.
go nowhere job sometimes, and no one who represents themselves is going to risk losing their only job over a mistake in an article. Because
Well, I'm not.
the internet won't let you forget that shit. The internet really won't. Anyway, yeah, you can continue.
Well, I'm
Sorry.
not suggesting that that particular article is clickbait or whatever, but it is something that I see a lot of in gaming and in journalism. Period. Like all journals I've read. Um, well, I say journals, all articles I've read regarding pretty much anything from medicine to movies and
I hate the
TV.
top tens.
Well, yeah, a lot of people dislike top tens, but there's no doubt about it. They're incredibly popular. People love to click on something and see a person's an entire outlook on a particular genre
And then you scroll
in
to the
one easy
comments,
to
and it's
read.
like, oh, you fuckhead, you forgot this game.
Yeah, I read some top tens recently because I needed someone to confirm my personal beliefs. I finished a TV show and then I immediately went to top 10 TV shows of all time, and my TV show wasn't there, and I was like, okay, motherfucker, we're about to get. I was getting pissed. I didn't actually get
I'm
pissed,
about to
I
take my earrings
understand.
out on you.
Yeah, I was like, fucking hold me back, hold me back. This motherfucker didn't put my favorite show in here. He's a fucking bitch. And
The
then but he put Top Gear in here. Who the fuck watches that? It's a show about cars. Like,
I
what the
hate
fuck?
articles that are clearly opinion. That stuff like top tens, editorials, and other stuff like that. But that said, I think if you have experience in gaming journalism and you understand the market and stuff like that, you should be able to show what you know without having to worry about people shitting on you and threatening you. But like if something is clearly a fact-based article, there's no way a journalist is going to intentionally lie to you or intentionally put shit in there that would risk their job and their livelihood. Some of these people have families.
Uh, and I'm sure, like I've heard horror stories about journalism, not like journalism in itself, but of the toils that the people have to go through, the journalists themselves have to go through in order to be able to write something. There's people from what I've read who spent weeks on games, and just to put out a 3,000 word article that gets hardly any views.
I think
And
it's the
sure.
age group. I think it's the age group. We want to be loud and we want to be angry about shit and we want to be able to do it without getting in trouble.
And I
And the
think it's
internet lets us
just,
do it.
yeah, sure. Uh, but like I said, I mean, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. Because, like I said, when you think of a genre, a media, you think of the best examples of that media. And stuff like this, it's just going to go by the wayside in the future. Like, who cares, really? I know it sucks. Like, right now, it seems as if there are
I don't
demographics
remember
that aren't being.
gaming being like this all the time. I
Well,
this has to have been a recent thing because like I've been into gaming like all my life and it's never been as bad as it's been these past couple of weeks other than maybe the whole Gamergate thing.
but you see, the thing is uh, you probably weren't as connected, you weren't as informed today as you were then. When I was growing up, games were just games. I didn't even look up reviews for games. I just played games. I got so few games when I was young. I would play shitty games forever just because I had nothing else to play. And I would
Hmm.
think it was a good game simply
And
because I
now
had
shit
no
comes
internet
out weekly,
consensus.
sometimes daily.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just
And
so much shit to play and I don't know, like can we just stop being shitheads?
but you're not. People aren't going to stop being shitheads. There's always going to be shitheads.
I
The
know,
thing
but like
is
I can still hope.
well, yeah, of course. But the thing is you can't refer to people as being. You can't refer to people considering gamers to be closed-minded assholes when you yourself consider all the appearance and those who
I think
perceive
gaming is
us as
represented
being
by the AAA
closed-minded.
market. And the AAA
Sure,
market does have a very close-minded way in dealing with things.
sure, and that's fine. But I don't think that's necessarily true. Just like film, I think games are represented by the most successful games, the most successful examples of that art form. So yeah, AAA games are successful, but they're not critically acclaimed.
No, you're right. The games that do stand out the most are they can be AAA games sometimes, but they're not the AAA games that represent gaming. The
No,
the critically acclaimed ones are ones like Dragon Age and Skyrim and
Zelda.
the just they are AAA games, but they're not the AAA games that appeal to the largest market because like I can tell you right now, Dragon Age is definitely not for everybody.
Undertale.
Undertale's
Like,
indie.
yeah, but what I'm saying, one of the best examples of a particular genre in the media. So when people look back on the best games ever, they're like, "Oh, well,
But
this game was fucking awesome."
do you think people really want the positive?
Well, no, I'm not saying. Well, yeah, people. I'm not
From
saying
what I've
people
seen from
want
the
the
past
positive.
couple of weeks, people want to be angry and people
Sure, and
want to look
that's.
at the negative.
But what you're seeing is a subset of a subset. Like you said yourself, you're only seeing the
Hmm.
minority of people. You see, the thing is there are always going to be people who are angry, and they're always going to be the loudest, sure. But to say that every gamer is a loud, raging asshole is in and of itself a closed-minded statement. You have to take in amount. There's a thing. Those who are angry are going to scream, but those who are content don't rarely say it. Like, so I can enjoy. So I watch tons of videos on YouTube, and I love them. Right? I can
But
love a tons of
I was
videos, but
playing
I rarely say
devil's
it.
advocate right there. Like that entire time I was playing devil's advocate. I really don't think that we're that close-minded of a group. I just believe that the minority represents us inappropriately and that paints the rest of us in a bad light.
And that's what everything. That's what everything. every following of people. That's it's just inevitable. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to put up with it. And you got to hope that those that see these things from the outside can look in and be like, okay, they can't all be raging douchebags, right? There's probably just a few. Um,
All right, let's get off of that.
yeah.
And let's backtrack a minute to No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky came out just last week. And I haven't played it. Brett hasn't played it. I've, of course, watched a lot of stuff on it. Uh, and people aren't taking it so great.
It's it's pretty funny to see it, but like when this game came out, or when it
Remember
was
the
coming
hype?
out, yeah, the hype. Well, the hype was whatever. I barely followed the hype. I knew it was going to be a big game though.
I was like, that game
Um,
looks cool. That game looks big. I like survival and crafting and stuff like that. And I like sci-fi. I'll probably get it. But I never went like, oh my god, this is going to be the best thing ever. Nothing will ever top this.
it's people are making people are making comparisons between was it Sean Murray? I believe something like that. I
Uh,
believe that's his name.
yeah, he works with the development studio that's No Man's Sky's
Yeah.
developer.
So they're like, oh, people are making comparisons to him to Peter Molyneux, and if you don't know who Peter Molyneux is he used
Uh,
to be the
I'm not the
Al.
only one that saw that. That's something I said in my head and just never said out loud. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
this
of
is
course.
reminding me of some Fable shit.
Yeah. Well, Peter Molyneux
I was
was the
thinking
head
Peter
developer
Molyneux's
for.
No Man's Sky.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know if he's. I don't know if he was head developer, but he was definitely like the community manager or something for Lionhead Studios, which made games like Black and White and Fable.
Black and White
Um,
was good.
yeah, Black and White was good. So people are like, "Oh, he's the next Peter Molyneux," but people need to stop comparing Sean Murray to Peter Molyneux because Peter Molyneux at least gave us Black and White and Fable, right? Like those were two good games. Like really,
Sean
Fable
Murray is
itself.
going to be forever negatively be represented by the mistake he made in his first game, making promises that he
Mistakes.
couldn't
Well, this
mistakes.
isn't his first game. This isn't his first game.
Oh, it's
They've
the
made
first
games
game that
before.
anybody remembers.
Yeah,
What was the other game?
the Joe Danger series, which was I believe about a
I
stunt
completely
man.
forget they make that.
Yeah, they made that. Um, so, but yeah,
This is what they're going to be remembered for, though. That entire studio is
uh,
going to be remembered for the mistakes they made on No Man's Sky, and
I
I
love
think that's punishment enough.
people try to like protect them. Like the studio was only 16 people, but I was like, so who the fuck cares? 16 people.
There,
This shit could have been made by two people, and I would still be just as fucking mad. Like the game, sure, the game being made by 16 people is impressive, but you know what isn't impressive? The game itself. That's what's not impressive. The game is just watching the videos on it. I've watched maybe 10 minutes worth of gameplay on that game, and I've seen everything that could fucking happen.
okay,
Like,
I found out Peter
what?
Molyneux's job. Peter Molyneux was creative director for
Okay,
Microsoft Game
gotcha.
Studios Europe, which means
That's his
he
current
was
job
like
because he used to work for Lionhead Studios.
that's his old job. He was creative director for
Oh,
Microsoft
that's right.
Studios and
Lionhead was a
representing Lion.
subsidiary.
Yeah, and he had the same job as Hideki Kamiya, which is the guy who was behind Devil May Cry and
Hmm.
Resident Evil 4. Like Resident Evil 4 turned out so great because Hideki Kamiya was directing that project.
It's just a lot of people are calling this game, or a lot of people are dubbing it, probably aptly so, one man's lie. But I think it's pretty funny. But yeah, like you see these compilation videos of all the things that he said in regards to what No Man's Sky would have, and
This
then
is
you
a
see the
problem
finished
of
project.
indie developers, and they just say and do whatever they want. They don't have a lot of experience with the business, with the game market, and every situation that you've ever seen with a development team, you always see them constantly getting silenced by their publisher because the publisher knows exactly when to tell them to stop talking And I feel like if developers just talked whenever they want, you're going to run the risk of someone telling information that's just not true. There's aspirations, and then there's actual reachable goals. And I think Sean Murray's aspirations were too high. Now,
Well,
maybe one day in the future with DLC, by the way, they said that there wasn't going to be paid DLC. Guess what? There's paid DLC coming in the future.
I mean, but who's gonna buy this game? I don't think anyone. Okay, I have a
I'm
friend who
buying
likes
it
this
when it
game.
drops down to $30, and I feel
I
like
wouldn't
that's going to
even
be
buy
really
it
soon.
then. I'd buy
Adrian
that shit
said
for
they're going to buy
20.
it when it's 10.
I'm buying that shit for. At most, I'd pay 20 for that game. Just
And
from what I'm seeing.
this actually really hits home for me because like every place that I've written for, we've always been told to be lenient with indie games. Now, these are
No,
small companies that
it's
these are small websites that I worked for. These aren't the major ones like IGN or GameSpot. These are small, like privately owned ones. And we were told to be lenient when it comes to indie games. And I think we are too lenient with indie games. There are way too many indie games that we just rate way too high that I personally don't think could deserve it. But again, this is just me. And
I, what? That undermines journalistic integrity altogether. So, oh, be a little lenient. It's an indie game.
it's for the
So,
individual sites that I worked at, and it was part of the reason that I left. I don't feel like my opinion should be stifled by that kind of thing. Like, if I think a game is shit, I'm going to say it's shit. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
I understand being lenient, not because the game's indie. I understand being lenient because the game's cheap. Okay, if No Man's Sky had came out and it was $5, I fucking guarantee you, not a fraction of the people who are mad are going to be as mad as they are now. Would have been as mad. Uh, when you review a game, I do think it's important to factor in the price tag. Um, that's fine, but I do not believe being you should be lenient to an indie developer just because they're indie. That's dumb.
It's dumb, but like it never really mattered with my reviews anyway. Every review I've ever given for a game is how I felt in the moment about it, and I don't feel like them being indie ever swayed my personal review of someone. But again, these are small companies, and I think that they were personally worried about losing access to future review copies from
Of
the
course, that's
companies.
exactly what it was. Guaranteed, that's what it was. Um, but yeah, it's just saying you have 16 people in your development team, not an excuse. Saying that you're an indie developer, not an excuse. Not when you sell the game for $60. When you sell a game for $60, you are in the market for, and you are going to be compared to other $60 experiences. And people say, "Oh, well, what about Battlefield? What about Battlefront? That was a $60 game. That was a piece of shit." No, you have to compare it. If this is an ever-evolving market, you compare it to the most successful games sold for $60. So you take that game and you compare it, or even games within its own genre. So you take that game and you compare it to the closest $60 proxy open sandbox game. And then you compare the two and say, okay, well, these were both sold for the same price. How much better was this one in comparison?
See, when
Objectively.
I review, I don't try to compare games to other games because I know especially developers don't like that. They like to feel that the thing they created is unique, and it may not always be the case, but I prefer to review the game as its own individual experience. I can make comparisons here to like genres and stuff like that. I did that a few times with Overwatch and Battleborn, but I mean everybody was comparing that. But
But
like all I was saying before is that I felt that gaming journalism and reviewing and stuff like that, I thought we were always too lenient on indie games even before I was told to be that way.
well,
And after seeing what happened with No Man's Sky and large companies, well, large journalism companies saying that it actually sucked, kind of brings faith back into it, and it makes me feel good that
well, but
it doesn't let us block our opinions.
Well, the thing is what I mean compare it. I don't necessarily mean to write it down in the in the article. What I'm saying is you're going to inherently compare that game to every other game in the genre, regardless, because you can't say you're not
Experience
comparing it.
bias.
Sure, but what I'm saying is you can't say that you're not comparing it to other games because the only way that would be possible is if that's your first game you've ever played in your life. In which case, you're probably going to give that game a fucking 10 out of 10 because that's the best fucking thing you've ever experienced. Okay, so no matter what, you're going to be comparing that game to other games,
From what I've seen, I
regardless.
think I'll like No Man's Sky more than I'll like Minecraft. I didn't really like Minecraft though, so yeah.
Yeah, but Minecraft wasn't a $60 game. Minecraft is a fraction of the cost.
But you said it was okay to compare within the same genre.
Yeah, and the price range. That's what I said. It's mostly about the price here. It's not about the experience.
Prices
So
change.
yeah, but you have to take it for the current price now, which is $60. Also, how long is it gonna take? But maybe when it drops down to $20, then at that point you can be like, okay, yeah. So maybe compared to Minecraft, this is a better buy. Sure, that's perfectly fine. I can see that. But as of now, it launched at $60, and it's gonna deal with being compared to every other sandbox game that's ever released for $60.
Just like if
Uh,
you guys take anything from this episode of whatever floats your goat, its hype is dangerous.
I don't, and that's the thing. I don't necessarily think hype is dangerous either. Uh,
That's
Hype is
what
good,
AAA companies want. They want us to be hype
sure,
about things.
and we can get burned from hype. Hype, I think, in general, is a good thing for the gaming community because it grows the community. The community grows larger and larger with each huge game. More people are playing games today than they were yesterday, and it'll continue to be that way. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. The market will continue to grow. There will be exposed to different types of games as more different demographics join the community. I don't think hype's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing. And I think it's bad when it gets too out of hand or when it's mismanaged with community directors or when it's used maliciously. In this case, I feel as if hype was used maliciously by Sean Murray, or maybe even haphazardly. Perhaps he didn't know no, there's no way he didn't know, like what the game's capabilities were going to be. And if he didn't know, or if he didn't know at the time, he should have came out and said, "Yeah, all those things that I said were going to happen for the past few years, not going to happen. LOL, sorry, fam." He could have easily said that. What he did was malicious. I don't care. It was malicious. It was misleading purposefully. Um, so I don't think hype in general is bad. I think hype mismanaged and used for the um, for the benefit of the company rather than the gamer itself is bad.
All
I
right,
just
well, I think that wraps it up for today. We're approaching 40 minutes here, and like I said, there really wasn't that much that went on this week that wasn't just same old shit from last week brought up again. So I feel like if we just continue this, that we're going to continue to bring up the same points, and just repeating ourselves doesn't actually help anything.
yeah
So thank you guys
yeah.
for watching. Continue to be an angry asshole, or don't. Whatever floats your goat.
Sean Murray, you're a dick.